How are you on this fine Friday?
Good morning. I'm great. Fine Friday, Seth.
Well, good to hear. Thanks for making time for us, Joey. And the last time I got a chance to see you was, of course, at the Apple and Pork Festival. And I assume you have recovered and are, I guess, recovered from the Apple and Pork Festival. How was everything from your perspective, Joey?
It went very well. Once again, everyone pulled together and we had another successful festival. So for that, we are always very grateful.
For sure, for sure. Well, let's, if you don't mind, Joey, 80, I think we estimated just a touch over 86,000, maybe a little bit short of that. I can't remember the exact number we had, but, it felt like, in terms of attendance, a pretty typical year. But from all the vendors and everything I talked to, if they didn't sell out, most of the folks were pretty darn close. Ham and Beans, they sold out kind of early in the afternoon on Sunday. I know the Rotary, they were talking about their pulled pork was going fast on Saturday, and they were hoping to sell out on Sunday. I never actually officially heard if they did, but what did you hear from your vendors on the grounds of the Homestead from that weekend?
Pretty much along the same lines as what you're reporting. So we have talked to a few of them since the festival, and we had a lot of very pleased organizations, some that sold out, some that came close. And again, all of that money that they take in helps them continue with their mission statements. All of them are nonprofit organizations that serve DeWitt County. So, really good. And, you talked about that number, as far as the attendance number. 80,000 is what we hope for. 80,000 is what we consider a little above average. So, we were fortunate in that we went over that number this year. And, this year was a little off perhaps due to the weather factor.
Mm-hmm.
As early as the Tuesday before the festival, I had a lot of phone calls at the museum, both people thinking of attending as well as, some of the vendors as well, just, concerned about, they were calling for the high winds, and there was a lot of rain around us. We didn't really get the rain here, but a lot of people were leery. But it's good to see that even with those considerations, people still came, and we had a good number this year.
Very good. Now, of course, we'll remember, Joey, that the Apple and Pork Festival is a fundraiser, of course, for the DeWitt County Museum, C.H. Moore Homestead, and it kind of flows back into the homestead itself for projects and those sorts of things. Is there anything the Homestead Board or yourself has targeted where those funds may be directed, whether it's this winter or in the future?
I don't know for sure that anything is earmarked specifically. We do have some projects coming up at the museum. The museum is open April through December, and then we're closed January, February, March. And that is often a time when we can take on those big projects where, you can't be welcoming people in to tour the house if you have a big project going on. So starting in January, the biggest of the projects, they're going to be working on the music room. Doing some work on the floor and whatnot. So I'm sure that some of the funds that were raised this year will go towards that. Of course, we always have other projects as well, big ones and small ones. But, every penny that we take in during that festival certainly does help the museum. It helps us, operate.
Mm-hmm.
It also, helps us do these bigger projects or, once every 10-year projects or, things like this that come up. So I know that they'll all sit down, the finance committee, and probably, work up a budget and figure out where best to funnel the funds that we're taking in this year.
Sure. Joey, when it comes to the museum itself, I know one of the focal points, and this has spanned many years, not necessarily just kind of the last, since you and I have been talking the last 10 or so years, but, the focal point has always been to maintain the integrity and the historical nature of the home. Do you mind touching on that with us for a moment?
Yes. So, and that's done in two ways. It's done architecturally and also done as far as how the house was staged. So as far as staging for the museum, we try to keep the house in the period during which Mr. Moore lived in the house. So that would be from the 1880s up to 1901 when he passed away. And then as far as making sure that we keep the the historical integrity of the architecture, that's also always a concern. So for instance, when we had to replace the west porch and the front porch of the house, we didn't put the that plastic planking on there. They used the wood tongue and groove, just as it would have been back then. And they also not only used the appropriate materials in those two projects, but also, when they built the porch back, they built it in the exact same design as it was originally.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember that. And actually, that's funny you say that. That's exactly what I was thinking about when I put that question out to you. So I'm glad you referenced it. Very good, Joey. Anything else on Apple and Pork from 2024? It was a great year once again. I'm glad a lot of folks decided that the weather wasn't going to hold them back. It really, truly ended up being rather a nice weekend. So again, any final thoughts on Apple and Pork and things we missed?
Well, I want to thank everyone who helped make it a success, and that's everyone from the board of directors of the DeWitt County Museum Association to all of the volunteers who helped staff the museum booth, to all of the people that organized and staffed all of the other booths that were there on the ground serving food, to all of our vendors, who come together and make it the attraction that it is. The entire community pitches in for us, and I just want to extend my gratitude again to all of the people. It literally takes hundreds, if not thousands, of people willing to volunteer their time and pitch in that makes this work every year. It's certainly an example of community unity, and I just want to express my gratitude.
Joey, we should say the same to you because, while it does take many, many volunteers and you're very gracious in recognizing them, rightfully so, I think a lot of kudos should go to you as well, because I think your passion, not only for the history of Clinton, but just the passion for the Apple and Pork Festival shows in your preparation, the way you promote it, how you talk about the festival. You deserve as much credit as you're giving out. So kudos to you, my friend.
Oh, very kind of you. Thank you, Seth.
That is Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum, C.H. Moore Homestead, our guest on the phone today. Joey, we talked before the Apple and Pork Festival a month or two before about a great project you've got going on, a restoration project of sorts in the museum. Tell us about this and remind us what's going on.
Yes, I'm excited about this project, and we're having success with it. But as we always say, the more the merrier, right? So the C.H. Moore Homestead DeWitt County Museum collection includes many photographs that depict DeWitt County's history and heritage, faces, places, events, businesses, schools, residences, landmarks, public buildings, land, all kinds of things. And many of these original images that we have in the collection are the only one of its kind in existence. However, due to the passage of time, some of these images have begun to fade and or deteriorate. We actually have the originals on display on our gallery wall. So, decades and decades of being exposed to light and whatnot, is not good for them. And then we also have a lot of images that are also, stored away that don't see the light of day. But it would be nice if people, would have the opportunity to see them on the gallery wall and enjoy them. So this Picture Perfect project will allow us to stabilize and preserve the originals, but at the same time, be able to display these images for all to see. So what we are doing is we are taking the original images and then having a copy of that image made, and then that image is actually put onto a special material, and this material is resistant to light fading, It's also resistant to any type of moisture, which, our photo gallery wall is in the basement of the museum. So, we are always conscious of, keeping that humidity level under control as well as we can. And the pictures will all be made in an 11 by 14 size. And then the original image we can then put into archival storage and preserve that original image, for generations to come. So we also will have a digital copy of each of those made at the same time. So the original will be stabilized according to, best archival practices, placed in storage, and then the reproductions will be displayed. And so we are asking for sponsors to step up and claim a photograph. And so far, we've had success with this. I think I have maybe 12 sponsors at this point, and the first round of images just came back to us from the photographer that is handling this project for us. That's Mark Woods from here in Clinton. He's doing a fantastic job for us. And so the first 4 that came back is a picture of a train wreck on Salt Creek Bridge. And that was done in memory of Illinois Central Railroad engineer Francis Stokowski by Steve and Nancy Stokowski.
Oh, cool.
And then, I'm trying to tailor what image someone selects. I'm trying to match that with something that matches something about them and their life or where their interests lie. And so then we had the second DeWitt County Courthouse with an Abraham Lincoln portrait hanging above the door. So this is a courthouse where Lincoln actually practiced when he was here in DeWitt County. And a friend of mine, Guy Fraker, who has written several scholarly books on Abraham Lincoln, and in fact, a couple of those books specifically mentioned that second DeWitt County Courthouse. He sent in a sponsorship form and just wrote a note, Madame Museum Director, pick me a good one. Well, I picked him a good one. So I picked him that one. And then it, of course, then is sponsored by Guy Fraker, author of Lincoln's Ladder to the Presidency. And then Angie Williams, she sent in a form and allowed me to select one for her. And I think I found something very fitting. Angie and her husband, George Williams, were school teachers here in the Clinton School District for many years. And so I selected the McCorkle School photograph, which was in desperate need of being stabilized and put away and a copy made. And then the final one that came back in this round was sponsored by the Lippert family. And they just simply requested not a specific image, but said, which one of these pictures is in, really bad shape and needs to be saved. And so that ended up being a photograph of Clinton's Public Square, and very, very kind gesture. And I will say, too, with your sponsorship, it's a $100 sponsorship. With your sponsorship for each photo, you also you get recognition. So the copies that are made of these images actually have a place down in the bottom left or right-hand corner, depending on the composition of the image, that tells who sponsored it. And so it's kind of neat that these people are helping us save history, but we're also, by creating this collection of reproduction images that will last for decades, we are actually creating another type of historical record. Who stepped up, who stepped forward, who found that this was an important project and actually sponsored a photograph, and for what reason. So I think it's really neat.
That is very good. Well done by you, Joey. Did you say, and maybe I missed it, did you say, is there an approximate number of photos that you have that need to be restored?
Well, as far as ones that are in desperate need of being restored, I would say maybe about 20 to 25.
Okay.
But we have an extensive collection of photos. And sometimes some photos, we have a few old photo albums that are certainly one-of-a-kind images, and they don't see the light of day. They're smaller photos. They're kept in the albums. Either, they're mounted in with, glue. You can't move them out. Or, you, as a museum, you want to keep a collection together. So you wouldn't want to pull all those out and just shuffle them into the photo collection. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to know that came from this family at this period of time from this place. So this project that we're working on would actually allow us to pull out some of those smaller images from these albums and create these 11 by 14 reproduction images and have those on display on the gallery wall too. So not only does it help with the ones that need to be stabilized, and taken down and put into archival storage, but also these treasures, as far as pictures go, these treasures that are not on display and are kept in these albums and whatnot. In fact, I was looking through some of these pictures just yesterday, and I found a few scenes of the Clinton Square that I've never seen that particular picture before. I believe they're one of a kind. Based on the collection that they came out of, I think that somebody early on had a camera, took these shots of the square and then had them developed, and they went into a drawer, and then eventually they came to me. But these are images that the public has never seen.
Very good, Joey. Well, I tell you what, we're well past the timeout. I hate to cut us off there. I'm sure we could talk a few more minutes about it, but where do folks go to learn about becoming a resource in restoring these old photos, Joey? How do they learn more?
They can give me a call at the museum, and that number is 217-935-6066. Anyone who receives the museum's newsletter, the Homestead Gazette, those will be going out soon, and there will be a sponsorship form in there. And if anybody has any questions about it, please give me a call or stop by the museum. If you have an idea of what type of image you would be looking for, I'm more than happy to go through and sort through the pictures and maybe pull out a few, and together we can select a photo for you.
Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum, C.H. Moore Homestead, our guest on the phone. More to come with Joey on the morning show.
WHOW. The WHOW Morning Show is now video streamed live on the WHOW WEZC DeWittDailyNews.com Facebook page and on the new WHOW TV YouTube channel. Watch Morning Show host Seth Lawrence interview guests live, as well as watch archived video podcasts of any interview you missed. Whether on Facebook or YouTube, we're providing two more ways that Central Illinois' local news station, WHOW, delivers compelling content for you.
This is Seth Lawrence, News and Program Director for WHOW and WEZC. We take pride in being Clinton and Central Illinois' local radio stations each and every day, 7 days a week. What does local news mean? Here's a sample.
Brings our grand total to $87,654 for the 2 days.
We put in a policy that basically says that if I'm in a classroom where I'm doing educational things, I'm not in a study hall, but I'm actually in class, that all students are required to put their phones in a phone caddy at the start of the period.
Yeah, so the first step was to get the board to agree to dissolve the committee. It's time to do that.
We're open every Friday and Saturday in October.
You hear the local people that make the news every day, 7 days a week on the big 1520 AM, 92.3 FM, and 106.5 FM WHOW, and on the station playing America's best music, 95.9 FM WEZC.
Scott Baum here from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. Search our big selection of pre-owned cars and trucks by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, my guest on the phone today, Joey Long, director of the DeWitt County Museum and C.H. Moore Homestead. Joey, we are very short on time. Very quickly, give us some important dates coming up at the museum we need to know.
All right. So in November, we will have Santa Night, and we'll have our first candlelight tour. And then December, each Friday night up to Christmas, every Friday evening, candlelight tours. And then also coming in December, back by popular demand, horse-drawn carriage rides.
Very good. Joey, where do folks go to learn about all things DeWitt County Museum, C.H. Moore Homestead?
They can visit our website. It's www.chmoorehomestead.org. Or they can follow our Facebook page, C.H. Moore Homestead, DeWitt County Museum.
Joey, always good to talk with you. Thanks for taking time with us. Joey Long, again, director of the DeWitt County Museum, C.H. Moore Homestead, our guest on the phone. Network news on the way.
WHOW.
With SRN News, I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. Terror